I should say to everybody watching from over in the motherland, and what's up to everybody watching here in the United States. Today on Higher Reasons, with me, Zero, some of you know me as Ekungulu, and what I want to talk to you today about a little bit was what Brother Tatende was just speaking about a little bit ago, and that is the worship of black celebrities, or celebrities really in general, and how that depowers you, right? To probably provide a little bit of supplementary, uh, just backup for him. You know what I'm saying? Because he covered that pretty well. But this is also something that I've been looking into extensively over the past 30 years. So the thing that people most wonder about is how is it that media controls? Because that's what they do. They go, oh, it's mind control. They don't believe it. They don't understand it because they don't think that the mechanism is actually possible because of the way it's been put to you that it works in comic books, media, cartoons, what have you, right? The way it's depicted is, oh, somebody comes up with a pendulum or some swirly googly eyes. Now, that in and of itself, that imagery is not a mistake, but that imagery that they're showing you it's not the whole story, okay? So the first thing that they do, or that you got to understand about what they do with media and with like anything online. That's when I say media, I'm talking about movies, uh, sports games that are televised, because they're broadcast, right? So social media, all of this is all media. The whole point of any of this is to control your spiritual and your mental faculties, right? The reason they do this is because they can direct you to where they want to go for monetary and status, power, and whatnot, right? Control, essentially. Okay, so it kind of rolls over into, are they receiving worship as it really exists, right? What people think worship is going to church, and you pay tithes, which shouldn't be doing anyway unless you're paying that tithe to, a cause that's going to benefit you and other people, right? But they think of worship as that. What worship really is when you give your attention and time and spoken word energy to something, right? Because that is what's going to dictate what you focus on. So if you're constantly speaking about a thing, constantly watching a thing, constantly looking at a thing, i.e., a certain celebrity and their songs and their movies and everything they write and all the little after shows, and you watching all of that, you are giving them your spirit energy. They're essentially stealing your soul. They're not really stealing it. You're giving it to them. You're being tricked into giving it to them, just like they were tricked into giving up their soul. Which leads me into my next point: understanding what a celebrity and a character really is, right? So a character is a created entity. You know what I mean? That's what a celebrity is, right? So you got to understand that even when you see these people in quote unquote candid interviews, that's not really who they are still. Who they are is who they are in their private life with their family. You never get to see that, right? Because to see who they really are flat out like that could affect their bottom line. It could affect their monetary gains, right? It affects the whole thing that they set out to do, which is use these other characters, ka, ra, actor, right? To use those to focus your spirit, your Atten son, your attention, to focus that on them so they can pull in from that. And they can generate a reality from that. You see what I'm saying? They're using your attention, your spirit, creative soul energy force, your life force. They're using that because you're focusing it on their project, their project. You're focusing your Aten son on their project. Their project is their movie, their song, whatever, right? You focusing your Aten son on that is what's giving them the energy and Aten son they need and that they crave so that they can create the life and the reality that they want. Which doesn't necessarily mean anything beneficial for you because they don't give a damn about you. They just want you to give them your juice, right? Now, this leads me to my last and final point, okay? Once you understand that they're basically feeding on your energy like this, right? You got to also understand it's not entirely their fault because they were tricked into this, right? This is how is a spirit slave created, essentially, right? Is what this boils down to. And how this magic works is you first have to cause a trauma, right? Because what a trauma is and what it always does, it doesn't matter on a physical level, spiritual, mental. When you cause a trauma, you're causing a fraction or a fracture, I mean, or a tear, a rip in something. You're somehow causing uh, an impact to a certain body, right? Bodhi. You're causing an impact to a certain bodhi that causes it to fracture away from itself, right? And once you do this, it can be, like I said, physical trauma, spiritual trauma, mental trauma. It doesn't matter. Once you do this, the same result occurs. A fracture occurs where you can then, by using another traumatic event, or a promise of a reward or something, like just anything that you could use emotionally to attach another aspect of created essentially a written spirit. They create a spirit like actors, characters, like that's what those are. Somebody has to write the spirit up. They're writing it, right? They're performing a ritual that's bringing this entity into existence, right? So when they take the person who they have made a celebrity, that's why these celebrities have all these crazy stories of abuse and stuff that goes on behind the scenes before they get famous, because this is how the process works. It's the same thing when you go to the military. That's why they yell at your ass and they make you do all these push-ups. On top of trying to get you into shape so you can fight, they're also trying to break you so they can mold you into a weapon. They tell you this, right? It's the same way that it works in a bad relationship. When a dude or a woman is gaslighting the other, it's the same thing. They're trying to separate you away from an aspect of yourself that really exerts control over your creation and your creative influence over your experience, right? So once this has been done, okay, once this has been done, the new entity is kind of, it's just attached onto there. You know what I mean? Because it becomes a part of them. That's why you see some celebrities who can't shake it, right? After they're not famous anymore, or after like they've made the movie or they made the video or what have you, and they want to go on and lead a normal life, they can't shake it because that spirit, that entity is attached to them. That celebrity, right? That celebrated entity. Anytime you hear Cella in something, Cella, Stella, Astra, Astraea, Astellar, that's all talking about star or solar or mind or, you know what I'm saying, spiritual energy. Once this spirit is attached to them, you know what I mean, they're a celebrity now. You see what I'm saying? And once you become a celebrity, there's certain things that come with that. You got to feed that entity. That entity needs attention, or what happens? It destroys you. Like, this is how this works. So that's why they go so hard. Even if they know the stuff I'm telling you to be true, they got to go extra hard to actually keep the rules up, because if they don't, it'll eat them alive. That's how it works. We've seen it a million times. You see it. It happens on a daily basis. Celebrities just dropping dead out of nowhere. Celebrities you thought were doing good, all of a sudden look 95 years old. They ain't but like 40, 45. You know what I mean? This is that lifestyle is part of the ritual of draining that energy, not just from them, but through you, right? They're getting your attention to be focused onto this celebrity, which then generates the ability to conform reality to their wishes, right? So while the celebrity's busy having fun with their bling and their toys and whatnot, right, and all the ladies or men's or what have you, the people who really control them at the tippy top, right, are conforming and shaping this whole story, this whole paradigm. Like, and this is how this works. Like, you want to call it MK Ultra, you call it mind control, you call it, spiritual surgery, what have you. But this is what it is. Call it witchcraft, whatever. But that's how it works. All right. That's why I choose to call it Hekah, because that Hekah, right? That's the spirit. That's the force of your spirit. That's what that is. Right? This is mind and spirit focused. These are our ancient secrets. We used to use this. We used to use natural things to influence our spiritual and mental inbuilding, our information, right? Our informing. We used to use nature for that, right? So when you wanted to understand, like, say, how long it took grass to grow, you sat there and you would check on the grass every day. And in doing this, you would learn other things about the grass, right? If you wanted to learn things about an animal being born, you watched an animal be born, and in watching this animal be born, other questions will be answered that you didn't know you had. But see, we've largely been removed from that way of learning. And that in and of itself caused a fracture mentally and spiritually, which made it easy for them to just kind of slip in this extra nonsense they call society and culture and basically poison everybody for the last 100 or so years. So like the main thing that I've been saying this for a while, like as far as when it comes to celebrity, the thing you got to realize is they all work for companies, and the companies all utilize logos. Logos, okay? Logos being plural, right? Means word, and not words like just the written words you're used to seeing on the page. It means specifically the word. That first initial awareness. That's what that means. It's talking about mind and spirit. That's what that logo is meant to control, it's meant to communicate with. Any logo you see, that's why it's always in a circle. It's a sigil. It's the same thing, right? And these celebrities then get utilized after they've made their movies and they've become popular, and now they got your attention. Now it gets monetized. Now it gets really drained, right? Because what they do is they tie these celebrities to a name brand, like I was saying in my what's in the name video, in my sigils and feeding the beast in the sigils video, right? It's they tie them to the brand, and you tying yourself to that celebrity and how they live ties you to the brand. So now you're branded just like the celebrity is branded. You see what I mean? You fell for the same trick they did. It's just not to such a great extent, because they're not giving you all this monetary, rewarding for it, because you don't have the influence that this celebrity has. They gave them the influence, but nevertheless, you don't have that. They do. You know what I'm saying? They essentially use you like cattle so that you can keep generating this income so that they can keep shaping the reality that they want. And see, it won't change unless you actually start to do your research. That is in and out, inner and outer research. You got to read these books, these ancient things. You got to understand the ancient ways, but you also have to apply the things you read so that you can understand what I'm saying to you, right? You have to look in so you can see what Brother Tatenda is saying to you. So you can not see it with here, but see it with here, and hear it here. So you get it, because when you don't, you're just going to keep falling victim to the same thing over and over and over again. Every time there's a new movement and they attach a celebrity to this new movement, every time there's a new celebrity event, Will Smith smacked, whoever, like every time something like that happens, it's going to capture your Atten, son, your focus, the focus of your God mind. That's what that means. Attention. Attend. Ion. Okay? Which, again, that etymologically that throws back to Aten. Okay? That whole story of Akhenaten was about him metaphorically, but also metaphysically, taking the sun out of the sky. Okay? If you understand the sky to be that grand, wide, open space that the awareness is and exists in, right? And we are just a sub-micron of that space, right? What Akhenaten did was say that's it. There's nothing outside of that, and I am the only thing that can represent that, right? He took the focus off the metaphysical understanding that we had been following for a couple 100 million years, and he slapped himself in place of that physically. Once he did that, he opened the floodgates for everybody else to copy and paste, and that's what they've been doing. That's what celebrities do. They take the focus off of your higher functions that you should be focusing on improving, right? And they put your focus on them. Okay? There's a Babylon Akhenaten system here. That's how it works. So it takes your focus, puts it on them, and then what that does is gives them the authority. They're the ones you listen to because they're the ones you're mentally and spiritually and emotionally attached to. You watch their stories all the time. You can't believe it when they do a bad thing. You want to believe they're such a good person, but you don't know them. You only know what you've seen through these cameras and this box, which in and of itself was made to do exactly what I'm describing to you, to sway and affect and manipulate your mental processes and your emotions. All right. Well, that's all I got to say about Hollywood for today and their actors and actresses and whatnot. But yeah, go ahead and check out Brother Tatenda's video on Commit to Hebrew Ethics. All right, my man is over there doing excellent work, and I hope to be linking up with him here soon. Talk to you guys later.